and welcome to Nationwide Network Service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. We'll begin by telling you that President Bola Tinubu is appealing to Nigerians, particularly the youth, to keep faith and believe in the ability of his administration to transform Nigeria to an enviable height so desired by the citizens. Information and National Orientation Minister Mohammed Idris conveyed the message of the president after their meeting at the State House. Speaking on the state of the nation, the minister says the president is fully aware of the situation in the country and is working hard to turn around the social and economic situation for the good of all Nigerians.
And Mr. President has asked me to, again, inform Nigerians that he listens to them, especially the young people that are trying to protest. Mr. President is listening to them, takes what they say seriously, and is working assiduously to ensure that this country is good, not just for today, but also for the future. The issue of the planned protest, Mr. President does not see any need for that. He's asked them to shelve that plan. He's asked them to await government's response to all their pleas. He has listened to them, like I said, and a lot is happening. Only today, the National Assembly has expeditiously passed the new national minimum wage. You can see how the president is working. It was transmitted only yesterday. Today it has been passed. A lot of other interventions that the president has also put in place are also going to be looked at expeditiously in the interest of Nigeria. So there's no need for strike. The young people out there should listen to the president and allow the president more time to see to the realization of all the goodies he has for them.
In the same vein, Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, has urged Nigerians to be patient with the federal government as President Bola Tinubu is making greater efforts towards addressing the economic challenges occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy. Lydia Sampson reports that Ekpo stated this during an interface with the national leadership of the Nigerian Union of Journalists led by its president in Abuja.
Ekpo revealed that in the subsidy era, some businessmen took advantage of the low cost of subsidized fuel in Nigeria and diverted large volumes to neighboring countries where they make huge profits, while the targeted beneficiaries in Nigeria groan in acute scarcity, making subsidy on petroleum no longer feasible when this administration came on board. The gas minister highlighted the huge gas deposits in Nigeria, which at the present stands at about 209 trillion cubic feet proven reserves, with potential of reserves increasing to 600 trillion cubic. He added that President Tinubu meant well in ending fuel subsidy, as the decision has allowed more focus and investment in the gas sector.
While government is trying to repair the environment, our people within the environment should desist from all this smuggling, pipeline destruction, because the gas that we are using today is associated gas. And when they disrupt crude production, it will affect us a lot.
Ekpo informed the NUJ leadership of licenses granted to some companies to convert the gas fled in-country for commercial purposes, while efforts are ongoing through various government programs and initiatives to ensure more Nigerians use LPG and CNG for cooking and transportation. NUJ President acknowledged the minister's impactful leadership in the past year and commended him for the successful implementation of government policies aimed at increasing local content of the gas value chain.
We are eager to learn more about the progress made, the challenges encountered, and the achievements thus far.
We are looking for a way to drive this progress to the nooks and crannies of this country. Within the next few years, things will turn around. Let us be hopeful.
The achievements, he says, are not only commendable, but also provide a solid foundation for more progress. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Let's move on now to some National Assembly matters, because the Senate has passed 70,000 Naira national minimum wage bill as requested by President Tinubu. The lawmakers granted expeditious consideration to the bill transmitted Tuesday as it passed first, second, and third reading.
Negotiations between the federal government and the organized labor, the current national minimum wage of 30,000 naira only has been reviewed upward to the sum of 70,000 naira only. This is part of the federal government's short-term measures to mitigate the situation in the country, as efforts are being made to bring about long-term solutions that would align with the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians.
100,000, and to reduce the time for periodic review of the national minimum wage from 5 years to 3 years, and for later matters 2024. Third reading taken and passed.
In another development, Senate has also passed the Police Act Amendment Bill to enable an appointed Inspector General of Police remain in office for 4 years, in line with the provisions of Section 7, Subsection 6 of the Police Act. Meanwhile, Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi, representing Imo East, has defected from the Labour Party to the All Progressives Congress. Reports just reaching us indicate that Senate has equally approved the sum of 6.2 trillion naira amendments to the 2024 Appropriation Act. Similarly, the House of Representatives has passed the National Minimum Wage Bill transmitted to the Green Chamber by President Tinubu on Tuesday. The bill increased the national minimum wage to 70,000 naira and reduced the time for periodic review from 5 to 3 years. The Green Chamber also passed the 2024 Appropriation Act Amendment Bill, which brings the 2024 budget to an aggregate of 35.055 trillion naira. This followed lawmakers' approval of President Tinubu's request for 6.2 trillion naira budget adjustment, which raised the 2024 budget from an initial 28.7 trillion naira passed last December. Details will come in our subsequent bulletins. Violent protests is criminal, but peaceful protest is a right of all Nigerians, and the police will protect those who may want to embark on a peaceful protest. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun stated this at the Strategic Police Managers Conference in Abuja. The IGP assures that adequate measures have been put in place in the event of a protest, and the force will respond in a more professional and civilized way.
This is a delicate time to want to engage in any form of violence, and all Nigerians will come together and say no to violent protest. Yes, we know that there is hunger, times are hard, but government is doing their best to ameliorate the suffering of Nigerians. A lot of measures are being put in place. Government is already hearing the cries of the people. Even governors at their own level are trying their best to make sure that things in their states are stable. And this is not happening only in Nigeria. It's a global meltdown. I know some people who left Nigeria because they felt Nigeria was hard. Now they want to come back because where they went is even harder.
The police appeals to Nigerian youth to shun violent protest because it does no one any good. Niger State's government has distanced itself from the proposed August 1st nationwide strike, just as it is set to release 50,000 metric tons of grains from its silos to be sold at 50% less than its present price in the markets across the state. Governor Mohammed Omar Baggo gave this position during a town hall meeting organized to examine the state affairs in Mina. Usaina Musa has the details.
Town hall meeting, which attracted people of vested interest, including representatives of labor unions, organized private sector, youth, traditional and religious leaders, seeks to chart a path that will ameliorate the present economic realities and ensure sustainable peace.
We want to assure you that the youth constituency of Niger State are not in tandem with this forthcoming protest.
Governor Muhammad Umaru Bago appealed to the populace, especially the youth, to look inward and profile workable solutions that will impact positively on the lives of the common man rather than resorting to protest which may result into negative consequences.
In Niger State, we don't have any youth organization that wants to do demonstration. I will release 50,000 metric tons of food. So we're going to slash by 50% any food, any grade.
I believe strongly that demonstration or riots will not solve any problem. It's peace, dialogue, understanding, and change of attitudes that will solve all our problems.
They urge all and sundry to take advantage of the abundant arable land in the state in order to complement the federal and state government's effort on food security. In Mina, Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
Cybercrime is said to be a global threat, truncating socio-economic activities. To mitigate this menace, the Nigerian Army is developing the capacity of its personnel on the dynamics of cyber threat and security. Ismail Musa reports on efforts by the Nigerian military to tackle this.
Africa's Cyber Security Report 2021 indicates that cyber attacks in Africa increased by 300% in 2022 in the face of digital economic growth. These attacks in recent times have posed a major threat to the global domain, targeting critical government infrastructure and socioeconomic activities, with the military institutions not an exception.
Risks associated with the information system.
This seminar, organized by the Nigerian Army Cyber Security School, is updating personnel's capacity on cyber security to curtail emerging threats to security operations.
Technology and science have changed the battlefield and will continue to evolve. Commanders and indeed personnel need to have a thorough understanding of the characteristics of the equipment and associated technologies that exist in their commands and those of the enemies.
Cybersecurity is a collaborative effort in today's world, as no individual, organization, whether civil or military, or government can defend or secure the cyber domain alone. We must network and collaborate to find common ground on competencies and skills we can bring to our collective cyber defense and security arrangement.
The seminar is also aimed at equipping participants with the requisite knowledge to enhance the protection of Nigerian Army critical information communication technology infrastructure against cyber threats and attacks. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
In line with the NIMET predictions that there will be heavy flooding in most states of the Federation, farmers in Ogbaru local government area of Anambra State are beginning to count their losses owing to early flooding that has taken over their farmlands. Benson Osadebe reports.
These families have planned for their activities, in this case, harvesting of their economic crops. They began their day by sailing through this lake called Owaliapanam in Osomala, about the local government area of Anambra State. Across the lake is their farmland, which is an island in the river Niger. Little did they know that their farmlands have been submerged owing to continuous rise in water level by the river Niger. These farmers, their faces are filled with disappointment and pains as they wonder where the next meal will come from.
Some draw our things back, and the time that is supposed to be out, then flood come and destroy it. We are going to harvesting it without maturing.
And they affect my people a lot. Financially, health-wise, all of them will pack out of their house, all their crops wiped off. Next year, they will start borrowing again.
The impact of flooding on the rural farmers in Ogbaru, which ranges from socioeconomic to health, will continue to have a scar on their faces, pending when government finds permanent solution to this natural disaster. From Osomala in Ogbaru local government area of Anambra State, Benson Osadebe, NTA News.
I'm now being joined by Benson Osadebe to give us an update on the proactive measures Anambra State's government is taking to tackle the challenge of flooding in the state. Benson, that's quite disturbing in terms of food production out there in Anambra State. But How practical are the steps being taken by the government to ensure the livelihood of the farmers are secured?
The state government is not resting on its oars in bringing solution to the continuous impact of flooding in Anambra State. According to Felix Odumegu, the Commissioner for Environment in the state, he says that the state government has continued the silting of the drains for inland flooding since February this year to allow free flow of water in the inland town. Also, the state government has activated flood emergency team made up of State Emergency Management Agency, Transition Committee chairmen of the affected local government areas and other relevant ministries, departments and agencies to see to the success of those who will be coming to the camp this year. Meanwhile, the state government has also activated early warning signals to some local government areas that are sitting on the floodplains, such as Obaru local government area that we just heard the report, Ayamelon, Anambra East and West, as well as Ekusigo local government areas. Meanwhile, the issue of camps has come with its own challenges, as state government says that they are going to bring camps to some local government areas that are affected, but the people that are going to these camps say they are having socio-economic challenges in this area as well as health challenges, as issue of adequate feeding in that area and sanitary condition of the area has remained a nagging issue for them. The state government has also constructed general hospitals in the flood-prone areas such as Okpoko in Obaru local government area, Anambra East and Anambra West, as well as some other local government areas to make sure that issues that will be arising from health challenges from camp will be addressed in those local government areas. Meanwhile, another issue that is being addressed currently is issue of those who form bureaucratic bottlenecks in making sure that what the state government providing, like food and other non-perishable goods, to these people that will be living in the camps gets to them as at when due. Because sometimes you see that sometimes they are being diverted by middlemen who play some kind of politics with their food. With this, they believe that the state government is going to cross the T's and dot the I's as they expect the flooding this year, according to NIMET predictions.
Well, Benson, good to know that the state government is putting in quite a lot of efforts to ensure that people are being able to have their lives back. But tell us more about the reaction of the affected community with a gesture from the state government and, of course, what they are doing in their own little space to also stay safe.
Okay, the reaction is welcoming. They are very okay with the reactions of the gesture of the state government in terms of bringing succor to their challenges. But they are saying that they believe that the state government is going to bring to bear what they need to survive with as far as this particular challenging time is concerned. However, they are saying that also that sometimes you find that the challenge they are having is that some people don't allow them to get what they're supposed to get as far as survival is concerned. They play politics with what is due to them.
Benson, I'd like to thank you for joining us on Nationwide and giving us that update as to development concerning flooding in Anambra State. Right, I've been conversing with Benson Osadebe out there on efforts by the Anambra State government to tackle the challenges of flooding, which has really affected outputs from the farmlands in the states. This is Nationwide. Let's go over to our Lagos Network Center, and Adeola will give us the next set of reports.
Thank you, Ayodeji. Local government, the third tier of government, exercises all the powers of government, especially that of the legislature and executive. Now, to effectively carry out its responsibilities, there has been clamor for autonomy in some quarters, and after decades, the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria finally granted financial autonomy to local governments. What then will be the impact of this judgment on local government administration in Nigeria? Local governments are institutional units with fiscal, legislative, and executive authority that extends over the smallest geographical areas for administrative and political purposes, providing a wide range of services to citizens at the grassroots. With the landmark judgment by the Supreme Court, Council chairpersons will no longer be at the beck and call of state chief executive officers, nor will their allocations from the Federation account be paid through state government accounts.
Some of the expectations, is improved service delivery. There's going to be a risk of mismanagement, and you see, lack of capacity building may also affect the local government.
While some stakeholders believe the new development will produce responsible leaders, others are of the opinion that financial autonomy is not enough, as there are sundry responsibilities that both the state and local government share.
Where we should focus our attention now is to ensure that the judgment is obeyed to the letter, and then we also introduce how to hold our leaders accountable.
But I know that the various structures, especially the legislative side, will be more, they should be more up to the antics to be able to curb overspending.
Although majority of Nigerians have applauded the judgment of the Supreme Court, they are also appealing that local government should be allowed to have administrative as well as electoral autonomy to put a stop to the imposition of chairmen. The Federal Operations Unit, Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service says its increased surveillance across the team's area of responsibility is based on the simple fact that where smuggling thrives, security will be compromised, and in order to sustain the peaceful atmosphere, it is important for citizens to share timely information that would lead to the arrest of illegal importers of military wares, illicit drugs, and counterfeiting goods. The controller of the unit, Kola Oladeji, stated this in Lagos while showcasing 1,500 pieces of bulletproof jackets seized within the zone. Michael Olaleye reports.
There is no better time for the customs to increase surveillance while expanding its intelligence gathering mechanism than now. This is because of recent seizure, raising security concerns. However, the enhanced patrol mechanism put in place by the Federal Operations Unit Zone A paid off, as this consignment with 150 cartons of bulletproof jackets valued at 1.6 billion naira were intercepted along the popular Ijebu-Ore Expressway. Although no arrest was made, lack of end-user certificate guaranteeing legitimate importation is becoming worrisome.
We don't know where they are going. Our investigation is still ongoing, but we now try to marry it with the seizure of arms we got at One. Are they just bringing this so that their equipment will be fully complete? This is what our investigators are trying to unravel. Because why should you carry this quantum?
The unit also intercepted close to 1,000 kilograms of cannabis sativa and about 5,300 cartons of expired drugs at various locations within the southwest zone of the country.
People who take illicit drugs.
Within the month of June, 4 suspects were arrested in connection with various offenses, while the unit recovered 62 million naira from the issuance of demand notices. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos for now. Nationwide will continue in our Benin Network Center with Obehi Otobo Aprasai when we return from this break. To stay with us.
And welcome to NTA Benin Network Center on Nationwide.
Women voters in Edo State have been urged not to allow the political violence being witnessed in the state to affect their participation in the forthcoming governorship election. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Edo State, Onoha Anogbom, gave the council at a one-day sensitization program for female voters in the state. Jude Abugu reports.
The awareness creation program targeted at female voters is aimed at mobilizing them for active participation in 2024 Edo governorship election.
Their conscience should be always their life. If you sell their vote, you sell their futures. Let us have election that will call our own.
Let me reiterate the Commission's resolve to building for our country a viral democracy based on egalitarian electoral system that affords equal rights and opportunities for all citizens, irrespective of their sex, their gender, and social status.
In terms of this election, areas that we anticipate or speculate violence, we've already mapped out. It came up in some of our programs that we held, and then we'll continue to discuss from time to time.
Dividends of and building confidence of young female voters in the electoral process were among the issues discussed.
I'm encouraged to also be an advocate to other females out there, telling them the importance of participating during elections.
We women need to encourage ourselves and other women to come out and vote and exercise our franchise.
The program is part of INEC's voters' education activities to ensure adequate participation of eligible voters in the September 21 Edo State governorship election. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And now to security. Edo State Police Command is keeping tracks of the killers of the inspector to the APC gubernatorial candidate, Senator Monday Opevolu, to ensure they are brought to justice. Although they are on the run, their families have been duly served. The Commissioner of Police, Funsho Adigboye, disclosed this to newsmen in Benin while briefing them on the updates of the investigation of the police.
CP Funsho Adigboye told newsmen that the murderers of the late inspector from 45 Police Mobile Force Abuja, Ono Ako, are known suspects and that investigations are intensified to apprehend them despite fleeing their homes.
Took another step of dropping invitation to their relatives. Meanwhile, if they fail to honor this, the appropriate legal procedures will be followed, and this may include declaring them wanted officially through the law court.
The CP used to clear the air on the use of language on the candidate of the APC gubernatorial candidate in the state by one of its officers, which did not go down well with members of the state.
We respect people no matter the class the person belongs to. The distinguished senator, Senator Monday Opevolu, we hold him in high esteem as a distinguished and serving senator. So the error, as I said, is highly regretted, and appropriate sanctions is being meted out to the erring police officer.
The police command wants citizens to be law-abiding. In Benin, Anwuli Okolo, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Ayodeji Makinde in Abuja.
Obehi in our Benin Network Center, I'd like to appreciate you. Back here, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, University of Abuja chapter, has announced the suspension of its 82-day-old strike with immediate effect. Dr. Silvanus Ugo, the chairperson of the union, announced the suspension of the strike while briefing the press on Monday in Abuja at the end of its Congress. He said the strike was suspended following the union's engagement with the new governing council, who promised to review all their demands with the hope of bringing a solution to it.
The council with the union met last Thursday, and they communicated in writing to the union as touching the issues that brought the strike. In honor of the new council and the new person in the office of the acting vice chancellor, Congress unanimously resolved to suspend the strike so that the university administration, the council in particular, will be able to look at these issues, look at the gray areas, and according to the council chairman, we were told that by 6th August, that the committee reviewing these things would have been, done with their functions.
The union, on the 2nd day of May 2024, embarked on an indefinite strike to protest against issues such as violation of its established laws, including appointments and promotions of members of staff in the absence of a governing council. Education experts say realization of Goal 4 Sustainable Development Goals entails a passionate collaboration of the public and private sectors for inclusive and accessible education for all. This is the position of speakers at the 2nd graduation ceremony of Hands and Minds Integrated School in Karshi area of Nasarawa State. Abdullahi Ajia reports that the Secretary to the Government of the Federation was represented at the event.
The commitment and passion of providing quality education was in full demonstration by the Hands and Minds Integrated School, with pupils and students adorned in their graduation gown. This is all geared towards celebrating this level of academic milestone and a moment with history which was replete with inspiring presentations that showcased creative talents and abilities of the students. And guests commend the school for what they call a holistic and quality education for the child.
This is very encouraging because you could see the signs of total child upbringing in those children. Intelligence is a good indication that they are getting a comprehensive education system. The child must learn, the child must play.
School is doing well. You know, we all know that education for all is the responsibility of all. So we need the private sector to collaborate with the public sector, with government, to ensure that we have access.
I'm quite impressed by what I've seen in the school, and I will really commend Madam for the good work.
For the school management, this is just the beginning of greater heights to attain, as plans are already on ground to expand the school facility with a view to accommodating the growing demands of enrollment.
I decided to do a whole school. The passion is because I love children, and I saw that it was really coming out fine.
We intend to inculcate the best of the best in children, apart from just the cognitive aspect of learning. We are poised in doing other things like entrepreneurship.
I feel so amazing to be among those graduating.
The thing I think is special about my school is how the way they treat their children.
And I just want to thank God for helping us.
I therefore call this thing. Representative of the Secretary to the Governments of the Federation, supported by other guests, inaugurated the new facility as well as launched the school magazine. Outstanding academic performances were rewarded with prizes and gifts. Established in 2021 out of a burning passion for the welfare of children, the school management said the trajectory of steady growth is encouraging and would be maintained. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Residents of Sarumiljuekun Ward in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, are raising their voices for much-needed improvements in their community. At a town hall meeting with the state's development officer, local leaders passionately called for the renovation of Ilorin primary and secondary schools and the health centers at Okiakbumu. Ahmad Fulani brings us the heartfelt pleas and hopes of a community yearning for a brighter future.
Development officers recently appointed by the state governor are saddled with the responsibility of meeting the people at the grassroots and inquiring about their challenges for the state government to provide solutions. At Okeapomu Primary School, the indigenes of both Zaromi and Ujuekun wards converged to meet the development officer for Ilorin West and his team, where they listed their challenges and areas where the state government could come to their aid. As observed by NTA, the Okeapomu Secondary School, approved by the state government some years ago, does not have classrooms yet, and students are taught in a temporary classroom built through community-based efforts. The indigenes are not happy about this situation and are appealing to Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak to consider the construction of classrooms and other facilities for the secondary school.
We are lacking in development.
Whenever there is time for senior secondary school exam, we used to take our students down Bani community for exam due to insufficient classroom.
The two hospitals that we have at Ojuekun, the roof are linking and the staff are not finding it very easy.
The visitors, led by the development officer Abdul Fattah Ajia, assured the host that all their requests will be channeled to the appropriate authorities for prompt action.
The education they are talking about is key and is the first priority. We'll make sure we did that and take our report to excellency.
Other requests by these communities are separation of the singular ward into two separate wards, installation of solar lights, and construction of interlocking in all the communities.
Next on Nationwide is Sadia in our Sokoto Network Center.
Sokoto. Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State has reiterated his administration's commitment to complementing President Tinubu's efforts in transforming the education sector for sustainable development of the state and country. Governor Idris stated this while hosting the House Committee on Tertiary Education Trust Fund in Birnin Kebbi. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa reports.
The House of Representatives Committee on Tertiary Education Trust Fund (TED Fund) were in Kebbi State for oversight function of a need assessment of tertiary institutions in the state. The House Committee, led by its chairman, Mariam Odinaka Onaha, commended Governor Idris for his commitment to education and called for a continued collaboration between the state and the federal government to address the challenges facing the sector.
Our mission is to diagnose, find out and treat, so that where we need to rescope, where we need to redesign, where we need to reprice, the team is on hand.
Governor Idris says Kebbi State is dedicated to supporting the federal government's initiatives aimed at improving the quality of education in the country, emphasizing the importance of education in driving socio-economic development in the country.
I'm happy that apart from the intervention, there are other areas of intervention that my state can qualify or have qualified to assess those areas.
The governor also assured TED Fund the collaboration of the state towards achieving its mandate. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa, NTA News.
Collation of divergent views from the citizens and other stakeholders has been described as a critical component in ensuring effective budgetary formation of the government. This was at a two-day joint strategic policy dialogue on social budgeting for child sensitive in Nigeria held in Sokoto. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa completes the report.
By involving citizens in budget formulation, government can create more responsive, effective and equitable budgets that truly serve the needs of their communities. During the strategic policy dialogue open, Deputy Governor of Sokoto State Idris Muhammad Gobir stated that divergent citizens' views in budgetary formulation reflects yearnings and aspirations of the people, as well as reduces corruption and mismanagement of funds. Gobir stated that the current administration in the state is committed to providing succor to the people, stressing that part of it are a number of relief packages and women empowerment programs initiated by the state government. Some achievements recorded include resuscitation and upward review of monthly allowances of 10,000 naira each to about 6,679 people with disabilities across Sokoto State. The Deputy Governor commended UNICEF for complementing government in providing support to indigents in the state.
If you want to cover the interests of the entire state, you have to go to the grassroots, hear from them.
Commissioner Budget and Economic Planning Sokoto State, Balarabe Kadadi, commended UNICEF for its financial and technical support to the government. The engagement has top government officials from Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara states. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
And that's it from this end for now. It's now back to Ayodeji in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
You're welcome back from that break. Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has provided all the necessary support to enable governors across the country to fight poverty and hunger, as well as to foster development in their respective states since the removal of fuel subsidy. He was speaking during an engagement with a delegation from the Arewa Consultative Forum, who came to discuss ways of finding lasting solutions to the problems facing the North. Mohammed Omar Ajingi reports.
These are the members of the Arewa Consultative Forum. They are here at the Kaduna State Government House Council chambers for a heart-to-heart discussion aimed at addressing the challenges facing the North.
By this visit, to be able to promote a deeper and wider conversation around the current crisis of insecurity and poverty ravaging northern Nigeria. We must take a hard look at ourselves, tell ourselves some hard truth, and move together to fashion a common strategy to address our developmental challenges.
The governor says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has provided all the northern governors with the necessary support to foster development in their respective states.
I can speak because I'm one of the governors, and I know how much support we have received.
The delegation expressed satisfaction with the state government's commitment to provide them with a befitting office.
For over 20 years, the ACF had engaged with the Kaduna State government on the acquisition and transfer of this property, which serves as our national headquarters.
The event ended with the handing over of the office documents to the ACF delegation. In Kaduna, I'm Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
The River State chapter of the governing All Progressives Congress says it is not going to participate in the forthcoming local government council elections if reserved judgment by the High Court judge sitting in Port Harcourt does not reflect the popular views of genuine party men and women. Acting state chairman of the party, Tony Okocha, was speaking during a media session at the Buhari House and National Secretariat of the party on some crucial issues affecting the party in the state. Okocha says until the presiding judge steps aside and follows the neutral jurists and allows the neutral jurists to adjudicate on the suit, the party will boycott the poll. He urged everyone to remain loyal to the party's hierarchy of command.
Is that we will not present ourselves to that election. The reason not being out of weakness, it is the reason that we are going to walk into turns, and that which you already know. The Federal High Court agreed with us, and an order has been given to restrain the INEC, and in fact to stop the election on the 5th of October, until when the matters are well taken.
The acting chairman condemned nationwide protests and urged Nigerians to begin to probe leadership at the subnational level and appreciates President Tinubu's presidency for several interventions to manage economic crises, including the approval of a new national minimum wage. Apart from oversight function and budget scrutiny, the legislative arm of government is expected to detect inefficiency, corruption, and mismanagement of public resources. It is to remind the legislators of these roles that the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission organized a workshop for one of the arms of government from Jigawa State. This is to help the members embrace accountability and transparency in discharging their functions. The workshop is to equip the lawmakers with the provisions of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act, physical responsibility to avoid mistakes in the course of carrying out their duties.
ICPC as a commission has 3 mandates. One of the mandates is area of prevention. So in the next 3 days, they will be taken through the areas of transparency, accountability, and also how to avoid pitfalls.
I believe the training we are going to see today, it will go a great way in assisting us for successful delivery of our mandate.
And next is sports updates. And sports reports rounds off nationwide. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. This is the Nigerian Television Authority. On behalf of the entire production, bye-bye.